Welcome back to His and Hers Movie Podcast. This is episode number 18, featuring a review of The Wretched 2019, which got its wide release in 2020. It is May 11th, 2020 at the time of the recording. I am one half of your hosting duo, podcasting out of southwestern Pennsylvania, and joining me tonight is Carly, podcasting out of southwestern Pennsylvania. As always, it's us two, usually. We've had two guests, though.
We have. Three.
Three?
You forget about the other Schwarzer.
Oh. For some reason, I just think it was Austin. It's weird.
It's like conjoined twins. They're just like the same person.
Yeah, that too.
But, yeah.
Alright, so we are back. Man, dude, I could tell you one thing that I've been like wanting to do for like the longest time. First of all, I've been wanting to do some more Netflix and chill episodes, but
yeah.
I never want to do like the new movies that are out. But I just like, I scroll through Netflix and I'm like, man, I still like, I remember when we did the first season of Black Mirror and I just like loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just want to do that second season so bad.
How many eps are in the second season? Do you know?
It's like a weird number, like 6 or 8 or something, I think.
Yeah, because it's like there's like 3 in there was only 3 in that first John, but like one of them was like a full feature-length film.
Yeah.
But yeah, that seems like forever ago. I enjoyed that show. I wanted to go on with that. Really
there's
bad.
only 3 episodes in season 2. We could totally do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's 3-3 a special in 2014, and then 6-6 a film in 2018, and then 3.
Oh, I didn't realize it was so.
Yeah, but there's other stuff that I've been wanting to do too. Like there was the Quibi thing. I was thinking about maybe we could do Quibi, like one of those shows or something.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Something new.
Yeah, if I wasn't so dang busy, I would totally want to do some more Netflix and chills. It's like 22 Shots just totally ramped up, like, out of nowhere. Like, we were doing nothing. I had so much free time. Like, I realize, like, when 22 Shots comes back regularly, that it takes, like, I lose a day of the week.
Yeah.
Like, a full day of the week. After you factor in, like, I watched 6 I Spit on Your Grave movies. One was like an hour 40, hour 30, like it.
Yeah.
2.5 hours. One was only an hour, but you're looking at like 7-8 hours of I Spit on Your Graves, and then we recorded for another 8 hours. You lose a whole entire day. One, you lose the day you record because you ain't doing anything after that, before or after the 8 hours usually. And it's like, basically I can't plan anything on my Fridays because of 22 Shots, which is not I love doing the show, but I'm just saying, like, it makes you realize, like, if you only have 2 days off a week and then one of the days is 22 Shots day, you kind of like only have one day to do anything else.
Yeah, I could never do a show like yours, I don't think, where you guys are like weekly and you do monstrous shows more often than not, and then you have the Patreon, and then you have other shows that you prep for in the future. That I think I would go insane. So, but I give you credit. I give you credit for doing the do and whatnot. You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks.
So anyway, what have you been up to this week besides watching all those rapey films?
This past week, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I've had some personal stuff, but nothing I want to go into.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done much. I did, spend the day with my mom yesterday. It was Mother's Day, of course, so we just, watched a movie at my house. We watched Ma, coincidentally enough. She wanted to check that out because she didn't get a chance to, so, we watched that. I had it on DVD, and she enjoyed it. I actually really like Ma. That's one that's really kind of grown on me. So we did that. We got some food, like, carry out. I ordered some food, and then we went and picked it up, brought it back to my place, ate, and then I took her for a ride around Brownsville, the Ville, because I moved here and she never really goes anywhere around here besides my place. So I kind of showed her where just everything was. There's not a whole lot going on in this town, but just showed her where all the places were, and that was nice. Other than that, I pretty much just did the usual, worked and watched movies. So not very eventful of a week, but that was something at least.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, I kind of, Mother's Day completely snuck up on me. I didn't even know it was Mother's Day until, like, I started seeing all these posts. And, I didn't get I usually try to watch, like, something Mother's Day-y, but I just didn't get around to it at all.
There's, like, a lot of movies that could be watched for Mother's Day, I realized.
Oh, yeah. I actually think I made a top 10 Tuesday video long time ago on films to watch on Mother's Day. If I was going to we dropped the ball. We could have picked something to do for Mother's Day on the show, since we usually do like all the other holidays, kind of.
The one other holiday that happened this year. No, but yeah, we should have done something. I realized there's like a horror movie for every term of mom. Now there's like one called Mom, there's one called Mother, there's one called Mama, Mother's Day. Like, it's kind of funny, but yeah, we should have done something.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many like that you could do. I could have made a top 10 list. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
But what are some of your favorites?
My favorite Mother's Day films is, I mean, Psycho obviously is a good one with mommy problems and whatnot. What else? Think.
Oh, it's not that hard. I have like 100 off the top of my head.
You have put me on the spot, and I am scared.
All right.
I mean,
well, there's the two Mother's Days. There's the original 1981 or 80 Mother's Day.
Yeah, see, I only seen that like at that drive-in, and I think I fell asleep through the middle of it, so that doesn't really count for me. But I will say, like, like the middle of it, but like the remake, I thought was pretty good, pretty serious,
the remake,
brutal type of film. I've only seen that one once though, so it's hard for me to like say, oh, these are my favorite Mother's Day films, because I feel like there's a lot that I haven't seen more than once. But
Mother's Day, of course, Mother, which is not. It's about a mother to be kind of, but it definitely fits. And then pretty much any film, any pregnancy / baby horror fits in. So you got films like Stillborn. You got Grace, which is a good. Actually, Grace is one of the better ones that is about being a mother. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Inside. Shelley.
Rosemary's Baby.
But those are like, I feel like the pregnancy ones, like, maybe like should take a back seat because there's so many of them. I think that another film that really works is the People Under the Stairs.
True. Yeah.
Hellraiser and Hellraiser 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the stepmother Julia, who's evil and awful.
Yeah.
What else? I mean, there's
like thrillers. I mean, I would say like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle was kind of ish, and then Mother's Boys, Jamie Lee Curtis. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah. Long time ago. Friday the 13th, of course.
Yeah. Just anything with like a psychotic type of mom character.
Good Night Mommy. Ooh, that's a good one.
I have not seen that yet.
Oh, The Monster was a good one. Cujo.
Yeah.
The Babadook. I mean, there's a lot that will work for Mother's Day. Much like there's a lot that'll work for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
I mean, some of my favorite, Inside, love that one. Rosemary's Baby, Psycho, Friday the 13th, all amazing.
Yeah, we shall have to do an event for it. I'm kind of like you, Mother's Day. Well, Mother's Day falls like on a different date every year, so it's, I think, yes, correct. I believe. I might be wrong. That might be stupid of me, but it always sneaks up on me too. It's usually I will see it on a calendar or something, or I'll hear somebody like say it at work, and I'm like, oh crap, and then I'm like, oh, I gotta go buy my mom stuff and like show her that I love her real quick and all that. So it kind of sneaks up on me as well. It's not like a major holiday, but yeah, there's always Father's Day.
I don't know much about that.
Why?
I don't know.
Oh.
But I will say this.
What?
The Father's Day, there's significantly less movies that I feel like fit for the like father. Of course, there's Father's Day, which I've never seen, but I think that's a trauma as well. You have the
Stepfather
Stepfather 1, 2, 3 in the remake.
Mm-hmm.
People Under the Stairs.
Trying to think. Yeah, usually it seems like moms are always like the nutty ones or protective ones in horror movies, so it's hard to...
I feel like that's an untapped... Oh, Frailty. Perfect Father's Day movie.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah. I feel like there's an untapped market of like dad-son horror or dad-daughter horror.
The Loved Ones is kind of like...
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, the relationship between the daughter and the dad is weird, but I'm sure there's more if we really sat down and thought about it.
Maybe Last House on the Left, because you have Krug and his son.
Oh,
Junior.
yeah.
Yeah. It's significantly less, for sure, because I'm drawing more blanks. Besides the stepfather films, there's not like a ton that stick out in my head as you know, father films. But maybe we will look into that during Father's Day. When is Father's Day?
I think that's in July. I don't know when in July. We also got the 4th of July in July, of course, so
yeah, there's a handful of films for that.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll just have to keep track of things and try to make events out of these short, especially these smaller holidays. Make it fun.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
What about like Ramadan?
What that?
Ramadan is.
Is that the sound of you looking it up? Ramadan. Is that Jewish?
Nope.
Oh, I feel stupid now.
I don't know what it is. Ramadan?
Okay, well, I don't think there's any moves about that. So, if you don't even know what it is, I don't think anyone else does either.
It is April 23rd to May 23rd, Ramadan. It is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, observed by Muslims worldwide as a month of fasting, prayer, and reflection and community.
Why did you even think to say that?
Because I knew Ramadan was going on right now.
Oh, okay.
April 23rd to May 23rd.
I guess
We're smack dab in the middle of Ramadan.
Happy Ramadan, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm ignorant. But anyway, so yeah, that was Mother's Day. Bought my mom a stuffed teddy bear and whatnot, and she was happy, and that is it. It's my mom is the best, and she is. So, but moving right along, I guess, have you watched any moves since we last recorded?
Yeah, I don't know how many I've watched, but I feel like I've watched quite a few. All right, so first up, did I talk about Blood-Sucking Freaks?
Let me pull up the list here. No, you did not.
Okay. Blood-Sucking Freaks, I watched the Joe Bob Drive-In. This was number 1 of the night. Well, no, it was number 2 of the night. Chopping Mall was number 1. So Blood-Sucking Freaks finally got around to it. It's also known as like the Incredible Torture Show. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's like a film that it's basically like a torture fest. Basically, just people torturing each other type thing. Like people pay to go see this show, and it shows people getting tortured, but like they think that it's fake and an act, but it's real. And there's like, it actually had like Joe Bob talked a lot about the history of like the actors and stuff. Like a lot of people like died, like who made the movie, normally of like liver failure or something. A lot of alcoholics on that film.
Yeah.
And there's like a midget or a dwarf. I don't know what's the appropriate term.
It depends on what they are. A dwarf and a midget are like two different.
That's ridiculous.
Problems.
So anyway, he, talks about like the guy in there who apparently was like in a porn before. Like it got crazy with the backstories. But the coolest aspect of, and by the way, I'm not a huge fan of Blood-Sucking Freaks. I give it like a 6 out of 10. I appreciate how it, for the time, because it came out in 1976. So I appreciate the level of like sleaze and violence and just trash that it pushed, but it's really not that good. And it reminded me of like a Herschel Gordon Lewis film made by somebody else, pretty much. And what was cool was Chris Jericho, the professional wrestler, was on. And dude, that guy is awesome. Like he's a true blue horror fan, man. He was super cool. Looks a lot different than I remember him, but he just seemed like mad cool, and that was a really good guess. It made me appreciate him a lot. And as somebody who loved like wrestling as a kid and then like completely disowned it as like a middle lifer, and then kind of piqued my interest a little bit later on in my adult life here, I watched it during the time where Chris Jericho was really popular. I didn't like him. He was not somebody I liked, but I think it was just like the blonde hair, like cockiness that I didn't appreciate. It's so weird. I hated people like that when I was younger, but now I love that gimmick because like that's kind of, I would say that I'm a little cocky. But so I didn't like it back then. It like annoyed me, but I like it now. It's so funny. And it made me like interested to like go back and check out his work from like WCW and like whenever he went to WWF at first and stuff, because that was my era. But I just I didn't pay that much attention to him because I didn't like him. But yeah, definitely one of the cooler professional wrestlers, I think. And Joe Bob was really cool with him and stuff. So yeah, that is Blood-Sucking Freaks, 6 out of 10. But the last drive-in episode was great. Then I watched I Spit on Your Grave, which is for episode number 183 of 22 Shots. I will be very brief on these just because I don't want to spoil my thoughts on there. So it is a rape revenge film, 1978, 4 years after Last House on the Left, which was probably one of the bigger American, staples in the rape revenge genre. I Spit on Your Grave is probably the most notorious. It's known as Day of the Woman. It came about after Mir Zarchi ran into a woman who had just been brutally raped, and he got the idea for this film, which is very uncomfortable, and that's probably why it was done so well in terms of like that scene looking realistic, because it was based off of his memory of what had happened to a woman, and that's horrible. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting talk. We probably talked the most about this one, so definitely check that out. My opinions on it changed a little bit. Then I watched Savage Vengeance, which is also known as I Will Dance on Your Grave, from 1993. This is the unofficial sequel to I Spit on Your Grave. A lot of people don't know this exists. It was a shot on video film made by like Donald Farmer or something.
What year is this from?
93.
Holy crap, I didn't realize it was that much later.
Yeah, and it is a shot on video film. It runs like an hour and 5 minutes. It actually stars Camille Keaton. She used a different name for the role, but yeah, she's actually in this film, and I'm not going to worry about spoiling my opinions on it because nobody should like this movie because it's not good. But it follows, it involves like, there's a scene where Camille Keaton gets like gang raped. Like they almost like remake the first I Spit on Your Grave as sort of like a flashback thing.
Mm.
So she gets like gang raped, but everybody's wearing clothes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something. Savage Vengeance. It's trash.
Yeah, it sounds like.
Then I watched I Spit on Your Grave 2010, which is a remake. It has that very washed out look with it's like completely devoid of color. Very gray, puke green, different shades of grays and light grays and dark grays and like light browns. Just very washed out look to it. I kind of like it. A lot of people don't like that era, but I am kind of nostalgic for it a little bit at this point, 10 years ago. Hard to believe this film's already 10 years old, but interesting remake. It definitely focuses heavily on the revenge aspect. Very, very much more of like exploitive. Pretty interesting. We had an interesting conversation on that one. Then I watched One Missed Call from 2003 for the Teapot's Summer Series with Duncan that I'm going to be on. I got 2003, so I hadn't seen that one. Decided to check it out. It's pretty cool. It's creepy. I'd say like the best part of it is in the final 30 minutes. It takes a little while to get going. Reminded me a lot of The Ring. But yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it. The funny thing about One Missed Call, and of course I'm talking about the Japanese version, directed by Takashi Miike. It's dealing with phones and phone calls and phone messages and stuff, but all the phones are 2003 phones, so that's like right after the 90s, so they're all damn flip phones, and it's really funny. Doesn't age well, but I'm kind of nostalgic for that era now too, so.
Yeah, like anything from 2001 to 2003, it's like you're gonna see all those phones and outdated technology.
Mm-hmm. So that's One Missed Call. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Thought it was pretty good. Then I watched Final Destination, also part of the Teapot's Summer Series prep. Final Destination 2, that is, which I just noticed that I actually wrote Final Destination and not Final Destination 2. I need to fix that. Final Destination 2. Yeah, so this film follows... Oh, dude. You know what? I love the Final Destination series. Now that I think about it, it's definitely one of my favorite franchises. It only has one miss, and the one miss has grown on me in terms of just entertainment. It's stupid, and it's bad, but I'll take it. But the other 4 films in the series, all very solid. I love the concept of death, sort of Rune Goldberg machining everybody to death. And then also you have like the amazing opening cinematic with this film, the disaster, which is always the funnest part of the Final Destination films, is like the disaster. And Final Destination 2 was really a good one, probably the best one in terms of the disaster. It still holds up. I mean, it made an entire nation scared to drive behind trucks with logs on them. Like literally. Like, anytime I see one of those, brings a little chill to my spine. And the characters are great in this one. I really like everybody. You know what? Remember the drug addict one? The one that's like snorting coke in his car and stuff?
Yeah.
And the cops roll by and he's like, "You gonna bust me, bitch?"
Yeah.
He reminds me of my friend's cousin, who's more like an uncle almost in terms of like age.
Mm.
100% like the same exact type of drug addict, just like, you know, trashy, has the same kind of longer hair, you know, just like, you know, it just reminds me totally of him.
Doesn't give an F.
Yeah. Plus, I give him props for talking shit on the cop after he rolls by.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
F the police.
Yeah. Because I do that. And you get mad.
Yeah, because I don't want us to go to jail.
Yeah, they'll roll by and I'll be like, F the police.
They won't even roll by. They'll be like right next to us and you'll have your window down and they'll like have their window down and you'll say that like thinking they can't hear. And like flip them off and I'm like, we're going to prison.
I don't even hate the police, but the police seem to target me, so
they do.
A little bit of a beef. All right, so Final Destination 2, love that one. It's so fun, man. It really is. 8.5 out of 10 on that, John. Then we got Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, 2005. Last year I watched 5 of the original 2 Star Wars trilogies, and I never finished the 6th one. So I finally decided it was Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. So I decided, hell, I'm going to watch some good old Star Wizardy Wars. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't know what you're saying, but you're going to keep on saying it, so go ahead.
May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Get it?
Yes, I get it. I know the joke. I know the day. I know.
Yeah. This is probably my second or third favorite Star Wars film. Right behind The Empire Strikes Back. This one, to me, feels the most important, like the most epic, like the biggest stuff happens in this one. We see the full heel turn of Anakin Skywalker, who I think has the much better story than Luke Skywalker, because there's more depth to it and there's more reasons. It's almost more intriguing of how somebody goes bad than how somebody's good from the beginning. Even though there was a little tiny bit of like sort of
what?
I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. There was a little bit of temptation, I guess, for Luke. I don't think anybody ever really took it serious. But Anakin, it works really well with. It's actually, I really like this movie. I think it's great Star Wars. I really like General Grievous and Count Dooku and just how like Palpatine, how that whole thing plays out.
Yes.
One day we're gonna watch all of the Star Wars.
I don't want to.
Buddy, look, there's only like there's the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the new trilogy, and then there's like the 2 spin-offs, Rogue One and Solo, and they're only like 2.5 hours each.
Ah!
What?
Dude, I'm not watching these. Okay?
Yes, we
I
will.
just don't want to.
Yeah,
I saw that one in
to.
the theater. I almost died.
We are going to do it.
I kept thinking it was over 10 times.
Buddy, listen.
Nick.
If you listen, whenever we have the time, we're going to sit down and watch all the Star Warses.
We don't have time.
One day. Maybe there'll be like 2 more by the time we do it.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're only like 2.5 hours each though.
Oh my god. You need like 2 days to do that.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Then I Spit on Your Grave 2 from 2013. This one's different because it follows the it's like set in another country. So that was a kind of cool little spin on it. Kind of like the answer to like the Hostel type films and stuff. Foreigners are bad and scary type thing. This one is probably the most gratuitous in terms of just how like mean it is. It's just a very mean, dirty, disgusting I Spit on Your Grave, which they all have that element, but this one's kind of more. So I think that this one's pretty gross. So yeah. All right, and then let's see here. After that, I watched The Howling 6 for my 11th watch of 1991. It is a howling film. It is about the howlings.
Did you watch this film?
Yeah.
Because that sounds like a review I would just make up when I
It's
did
about
not
this
pay
dude who
attention.
rolls into this town and helps with this building this church thing, and then there's this carnival freak show aspect going on, and then there's he's a werewolf, and then there's a vampire. Spoiler alert. I like the freak aspect of it. It's not very good, but it is passable. I gave it a whole point higher than I originally had. I had it at a 4 out of 10 the first time I ever seen it. I bumped it up to a 5. It's not bad. I gave it it's Howling 6 to Freaks. It's watchable. It's also it's like an hour and 45 minutes. Like, dude, come on. You're the Howling 6. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah, I gave that one like a 4.
Yeah. After that, I watched Wrong Turn 2003 for the Teapot Summer Series. Wrong Turn, man, holds up. It is scary, dude. Little story about me. When I was, I don't know, in 2003, however old I was. How old would you say I would be?
12.
Okay, so about 12, my pap got a huge stack of movies from his friend, and this was in there. And one night, I decided to start cracking through some of them. I watched We Were Soldiers first, the Mel Gibson film, and it was really long and good. It's a Vietnam film, not a horror film. It was a war movie. And I forgot to mention, I was home alone, and my pap, my grandma, I think they went out to a bar or something. And I was home alone with this big stack of movies, which was always one of my favorite things. Ordered pizza, just good night, right? You know, I'm nostalgic for those nights. Order a pizza, watch movies. It was just like the best thing in the world. Popped in Wrong Turn, and it blew my shitter out, dude. I was so scared of this movie. I've never really talked about this. I don't think ever. But I was actually like, the scene where they, find I knew nothing about it either. Just, turned it on, watched it. The scene where they, watch or go into the house, and then all of a sudden they find like the body parts and stuff, and then all of a sudden the people are coming back, and they're very clever with the camera to not show the people too soon, because you're like, are they just regular people? And then they turn out to be all like deformed and gross and stuff. And then, the people, they do the thing, and they hide, and it's super intense. And then in the morning when they're leaving the house, and, they look over and the one dude's eyes open, scary as shit. That movie scared, like, I was freaked out that night. It was good stuff. I live in the woods too, so that stuff's scary.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
And I like West Virginia. I've been to West Virginia a lot of times, and dude, it's crazy out there. The woods is nuts. So yeah, Wrong Turn, 2003. I mean, we literally live like 40 minutes away from West Virginia.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wrong Turn, 2003, 8.5 out of 10. Super good. I Spit on Your Grave 3, Vengeance is Mine. This film is actually an official sequel. Like, well, obviously they're all official. The 2 and 3 are official sequels, but I'm saying it's a direct sequel to I Spit on Your Grave 1, the remake. So it follows that girl from that film. And I thought it was probably one of the more interesting of the I Spit on Your Grave films, because it was following, it didn't have the same setup. Like I Spit on Your Grave 1, Savage Vengeance, I Spit on Your Grave, the remake, and I Spit on Your Grave 2, all are about the same thing. A girl gets raped and gets revenge. This one was different. It followed a girl who had already gotten raped, already got her revenge, and is now integrating back into society. Just a nice little change of pace, break the mold a little bit. So yeah, I thought this one was super interesting. Definitely check out our thoughts on that one. After that, I watched my 200th film.
Wow! Round of applause, everybody! What, dude? Is that good?
What?
Do you want me to, like, send you a fucking present, too?
You can't say the F word.
No, we get one. I just said it, so you're not allowed to say it now the rest of the show. I get it this time, because, you know.
Why are you...
What?
It was my 200th film.
I know, and I'm saying, like, wow. How amazing. I'm so proud. I might tear up.
Well, okay, so the reason Carly sounds like a massive B is because I got mad that she did not acknowledge that I had hit my 200th film, so I asked her to redo it.
Yeah, this dude's gonna come at me twisted. First of all, that was the second redo, so, like, I was excited the first time he announced his 200th film. I was. I said, like, damn, homie, or something like that. Now he's gonna come back in here and, like, try to announce it again. And no, that's not how that works. That's like a surprise party where, like, you know, your stupid drunk uncle ruins the surprise for you and you have to go in and, like, pretend that, oh my god, yay, wow. So, anyway, go on.
So it was Scanners 2, The New Order.
Yes.
Scanners 2, it follows, like, these underground people who have this ability where they can scan people, which is basically like telepathy type stuff, but they could also make people's, like, heads explode and, like, kind of control them a little bit. And this politician gets a hold of this, like, good scanner who's, like, really good at it, and basically wants to use him to kind of be corrupt and stuff like that. And he resists, and then he sends his other scanner after him and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool movie. It reminds me of, like, if they did an X-Men film in the early 90s. It's like, you know, it's as close as you're going to get to an X-Men movie until, like, 2003 where they made one. But I like it. It's pretty solid little sequel there. It's, like, more sci-fi. I like the vibe and the atmosphere of, like, the early 90s. It opens up in an arcade. Just super cool. 7 out of 10. Then we have Scanners 3, The Takeover from 1991 as well. And this one is... it's a bit of a step down from Scanners 2. I used to like them about equally, but Scanners 2 definitely took over for that. There's some good special effects. It opens up on Christmas night, which is kind of cool. And it, you know, has a good first scene. But that's kind of gets a little boring after that. This dude and his sister and... you know.
Are you saying I have to watch 2 Scanner movies in 91?
Yeah, why?
The first one is boring.
The David Cronenberg one?
Yes.
Dude, you're gonna get shot for saying that. Cronenberg's like a national treasure.
I know who Cronenberg is. I'm just saying I don't like it that much.
Well, it is one of his, like, weirder films, but Scanners 2 and 3 both came out in 91.
Why?
Well, I mean, the second one came out in 91, and then the third one, like, premiered at a festival in 91, but it really didn't get wide released until 92. But there are 2 Scanners films that technically came out in 91.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize there were 2 more Scanners films after that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, there's, like, Scanner Cop, and then, like, Scanner something else. Scanner something.
Yeah.
So yeah, gave the first one a 7. Give that one a 6.
Cool.
Then I watched I Spit on Your Grave Deja Vu from 2019. This is a direct sequel to the original I Spit on Your Grave, directed by Mears Archie, or whatever the hell his name is. And he was the director of the original. Starring Camille Keaton, returning to be like 70 some years old in an I Spit on Your Grave movie. And it follows her and her daughter, who run into the family of the peoples that raped her and that she murdered. On paper, sounds very good. Then you realize that, and I'm not saying it's good or bad right now, you have to listen to the review. It follows those 2 people for 2.5 hours.
Uh-huh.
insane.
I have no interest in watching this film.
I spent $23 on it.
Oh my god.
And it's burn on demand. It's not even a pressed disc.
Oh.
Could have made my own. After that, I watched Maniac, and that's the last of the I Spit on Your Grave films. But there is a remake of Savage Vengeance in the work, which is just crazy. After that, I watched Maniac 1980. This is the last drive-in watch. Joe Spinell delivers a amazing performance as the deranged Frank Zito. It's raw, unfiltered violence, and I love it. I love the whole psychological aspect involving the mannequins and sort of like the whole mother thing. There's another one, a Mother's Day one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mommy issues. It's big in horror.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why if I ever become a deranged killer,
mm-hmm.
do you know why?
Yeah, that is true.
But yeah, it's an amazing movie. 9.5 out of 10. Love the gritty New York setting. Then you have good old Joe Bob interviewing Tom Savini for this one. It was a lot of fun. Tom talked a little bit about the effects, blowing his head up. They mentioned his school and stuff, which is cool. And they also talk about his remake of Night of the Living Dead. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I've only seen it once though. I remember it's pretty good.
It is good. Okay, then we have 1988's Heathers, which follows Winona Ryder, who is very angsty, and she meets this dude played by Christian Slater, and they start killing her classmates and making it look like suicides. Pretty cool movie, honestly. I heard the writer watched a bunch of John Hughes films of the 80s and just thought he wanted to do his own interpretation of that. Definitely feels like it. Sort of, that he was aware of those, and I really like the just quirkiness vibe to it. Really fun. And Winona Ryder, very, very, very fun actress. So, and Christian Slater was really fun in this too. More of a black comedy, but solid little movie. I had a lot of fun with it. Joe Bob opened up talking about the specific school in Texas that was riddled with suicides. It was famous for having suicides. One time there was 3 suicides in a week.
Jeez.
Yeah. And he, talked about that. He talked about his little history with Winona Ryder and stuff. Very, very fun little episode there for The Last Drive-In. Maniac and Heathers, 2 completely different movies, but I dug it. And Heathers, that's one that I'll probably revisit a time or two down the road. And I like when Joe Bob shows some borderline horror stuff, because we get so much horror stuff on there that it's nice to sort of have something that's a little bit offbeat. And it reminded me of on Monster Vision when they would show Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory sometimes, or Surviving the Game sometimes, or Mad Max sometimes, just something a little bit different. Hell, they showed some John Waters films on there before. But yeah, Heathers, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. Pretty good. Then I watched Cabin Fever. This is my last film. Watched Cabin Fever. What?
Nothing.
What
Go
was
on.
that?
I was just saying that's a lot of movies.
Yeah, I watched Cabin Fever. And it is one of my favorite films it technically came out in 2002 the way we do it, but according to Duncan's Teapot's Summer Series rules, it counts as 2003, so it did fall upon my year and not your year, because you're right before me. Isn't that cool? You're 2002 and I am 2003.
Yeah, I was Cabin Fever was one of those memorable ones from 2002 I wanted to mention, and then I looked it up and I was like, whoa, it's not my movie.
Yeah. So, thanks for telling me, by the way, because I didn't end up picking it, and luckily Duncan knew that it was 2003.
Oh, well, I thought, okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah, but whatever. I think this movie has such a nice little blend. It has this comedy, it has this blackness of the humor, it has this gross outness, it has the serious aspect of a flesh-eating virus and getting infected and paranoia and stuff like that. it's a good time. It's one of the films that got me back into horror. I now have a giant one-sheet poster of it that I need to frame one day. And yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right, and then next up we have
What? My turn is what we have.
No,
you said that was the last one.
No, this is the last one, buddy.
Okay.
We have Critters 3.
All right.
And Critters 3 is my 14th watch in 1991. It follows this little kid, her little brother, a little young Leonardo DiCaprio in, I assume, like New York or Chicago or something. And I don't know if they actually say. I can't remember. One of the big cities. And the critters like hop along and end up in their apartment complex. Meanwhile, you got this like slumlord who's trying to move them out so they can demolish it and probably put up a skyscraper or something. And you have you have these all these quirky characters in here with like Happy Gilmore's grandma and this other like sleazy New York maintenance guy and these old couple and all these different characters, and they are battling the critters, trying to stay alive in this apartment horror boarding house thing. I had a lot of fun with this one. 7 out of 10.
Cool.
All right, and then I watched.
Oh my god!
What?
Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No.
Oh my god!
No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Well, guys, anyway, to move on to me, that was... You know what? I'm done.
What?
I just feel like disrespected.
I fell a nizzle, dude.
Dude, you can call up a nizzle after me talking. I'll go fast with mine because you marathoned yours, so... I don't have as many as you. I have kind of a good bit, though. But to start off with an absolute classic. I'm actually embarrassed that I watched this and wasn't going to mention it, but I figured why not mention all my moves. I watched Halloween Resurrection.
Why?
Because it is a 2002 move, and I was under the impression I had to watch all these moves. So,
wait, I watched somebody actually selected that?
Yes.
Who?
I believe it was Mr. Mark Ball.
Mark Ball? More
yeah.
like Mark Nut.
And he said in the chat, I think, he was like, I can make a good argument for why this one needs mention, so...
Jeez.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But Halloween Resurrection, obviously I didn't really need to watch this, but I kind of just, I'm trying to like watch every single movie that's been selected just for the heck of it, and it was like, I just kind of threw it on and was doing some other stuff in the background, but... yeah, this movie is not a good film at all. It's actually pretty much trash. Only redeemable thing for it is it's a little bit nostalgic for me, but even then when I was a kid I recognized it was pretty dumb and not a good Halloween sequel. But Busta Rhymes sucks in it. All the characters are super annoying, like the blonde haired chick and just Tyra Banks. Like everyone in this movie pretty much sucks. The main girl's kind of bland, and it's pretty much a joke to the Halloween franchise. So for me, it's just like I think I gave this like a 3 out of 10. Not a good movie, but it was just like an easy one to kind of throw on and not really put too much thought into. So yeah, that's that one. And then next up we have another 2002 move, and that was 1 Hour Photo. Have you ever seen this one?
Nope.
All right, well, it is the Robin Williams film. It's categorized as like a thriller, but this is another 2002 movie, like I said, and basically Robin Williams plays this sort of lonely guy who works at the 1 Hour Photo place in this, grocery store, like Walmart-esque store, and he kind of is a little... kind of falls in love with this family, essentially. It's like a mom and her son always come in to get their pictures developed, and he's just very fascinated by them. And like I said, he's lonely. He doesn't have a wife or any kids or anything, so he kind of puts it in his head that he could like be a part of this family. and he just gets obsessed with them, and he's kind of ends up like stalking them outside their house and like saving copies of their photos and like posting them in his place, and it just kind of escalates and gets out of control. I saw this one when I was a kid, and I thought it was kind of weird and didn't really know what to think of it. And my mom actually felt the same way. But upon rewatch, I really like this movie. It's really good. Robin Williams, of course, he's usually playing like the lighthearted, comedic type of character, and he does a really good job in this movie as like just mentally screwed up, lonely person, kind of psychopath who's trying to like get in on these people's lives, and he's just very unsettling. The movie's got this weird white out look throughout it, like the photo center, the whole store is like always white, and then there's moments where he's having dreams and it's just all white, and like even his hair is like Robin Williams' hair is like dyed this whitish blonde color. It's just very kind of unique and a weird look to the film. And you kind of mentioned like in 1 Hour Photo how the phones are dated, and it's funny. In this movie, it's kind of makes me nostalgic for the time of having just throwaway cameras where you took the picture, had no idea what it was gonna come out looking like, and then you actually had to go to the store and develop them at the 1 Hour Photo place. So I find that interesting about this movie, because the whole film, Robin Williams is also kind of taking pictures of the family and stuff with just these like the basic throwaway old fashioned cameras, and it's a good one. I like this one. I think I gave it like an 8 out of 10. So that's that. And then after that, moved on to a 2004 movie, and that was Satan's Little Helper. This was a first time watch for me, and I dug it. I didn't really know much about this one. I knew it was one of those mentioned Halloween setting type of movies, but other than that, I'd never seen it before and didn't really know what it was going to be like. At first, I didn't think I was going to like it too much because it's clearly a little bit more low budget, and it's played in kind of a goofy manner where you got this kid who's like dressed up like Satan, and then he essentially becomes Satan's little helper to quote unquote Satan. And he's kind of going around and they're like, raising hell essentially. But I dug it. I thought the little kid was super annoying, but at the same time, the movie kind of has this charm to it that was enjoyable. And like I said, it's got like these comedic aspects, but at the same time, there's some creepy moments with this Satan guy. Like the look of his mask is really creepy, and just the way he's just kind of standing there not talking the whole movie is freaky as well. So I dug it. I think I gave that one like a 7 or 7.5, something like that. Then after that, another 2004 movie, and obviously probably the most well-known one. I decided to rewatch Saw. Saw, fantastic film. Two guys.
I don't fucking like Saw.
I was going to say things. Let me say some things. I think it's a fantastic film. I think it's very well written. I think, it's got that contained horror, as you like to call it. And I think the two main actors you're pretty much dealing with are great in the film. But yeah, Saw is not one of those ones that I run back to because I do find it very depressing for obvious reasons. And it's just kind of a downer of a film. Even watching it this time, I was like, man, I don't even want to watch this. I'm sad. But the Saw franchise isn't my favorite for sure. I'm not into like the torture-y stuff. I
was very curious to see how many Saws got involved.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I know that the year that I had one, it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess 2004. They like came out. They were coming out like every year or so, every 2 years. So yeah. That's intriguing. But yeah, I mean, Saw first one, obviously that's probably one of the higher points of 2004. It's a great film, really well made. But like I said, just not one of my favorites personally, because I prefer to not be sad and depressed. And it has that very gloomy look. All the Saw movies have that just grayish tone to them, and I'm not a huge fan of that tone, honestly. It just kind of, some movies it's fine with me, like The Ring, that's a good example where it has that kind of washed out look to it, but it for the most part depresses me. But Moving along, we have another 2004 flick, and that is Marebito. This was a Japanese horror film that I had never heard about or anything like that. I think Marebito means unique one. So I think that's what it said, like on the Wikipedia or IMDb page at least.
I am Marebito.
What? No, you're not. You suck. But anyway, Marebito, this is about some weird guy who is fascinated with like this underground world. I forget exactly what it's called, but movie starts out kind of weird. He kind of ventures to this like just almost parallel universe. It's like underground, and while he's down there, he sees this strange woman who is naked and chained in this sort of cave or like under this rock. So he actually decides he's going to save her and take her back to his apartment. And when he takes her back, he realizes she's not like a human. She pretty much behaves like an animal. She walks on all fours for the most part, or, you know, pretty much crawls. And she doesn't know how to talk, and he tries to feed her and give her drinks, but she refuses them, or if he tries to make her, she'll puke. So he soon kind of realizes that she doesn't have a taste for food, and she is pretty much a blood-sucking sort of succubus type of character. So at first I didn't think I was going to like this movie. It just seemed very weird, and it's a little bit low budget as well. But once it got into it and you see what this girl's all about and what this guy's kind of doing and how he's like taking care of her, it's really disturbing, and it's actually kind of unsettling and gross at times. And I really enjoyed it. I liked it. I like movies like this. Yeah, I dug this one. This is one of those ones I'd never heard of before, so I'm glad I got the chance to watch it. So, Marebito. Then after that, we have a repeat here, because I also watched Critters 3 from 1991. And I enjoy this movie. This was, I think, a second time or third time. I think it was a second time watch for me. And, you know, not as good as part one. I don't even remember part two that well, honestly. But this one, you know, you already said it. You got little Leonardo DiCaprio in his first role. And you have this family that's like a dad and the two kids. And the mom has passed away. So the dad's kind of like a down in the dumps type of guy, and they return home to their like scummy apartments, and Leonardo DiCaprio and his asshole of a stepdad are going there because they happen to own the apartments and they're going to evict them. But then you also have the critters, and the critters come around and are causing all these
Krites, buddy.
Oh, the Krites, sorry, are coming around, and they are causing all these problems. So all the people are kind of stuck in this apartment, and the majority of the movie is like in this apartment setting, which I dig. So I think it's pretty fun. You know, it's got this very extra cheesy aspect to it, but I had a good time with it. This is probably the best time. Well, like I said, I think this is like the second time I've ever watched it, but I had a much better time watching it this time around. It seemed like I just had a good time with it. Not, you know, some of the acting's a little iffy and dialogue's a little cheesy, but I enjoyed it. Then after that, we have a TV movie called The Haunted from 1991. Now, I'm going to pull JP here and say, here's a story about me. When I was a kid, there was a move on TV, and my mom and I were watching it, or my mom was watching it, and I just happened to be, you know, on the floor playing or something in the living room, and I ended up watching some of it with her, and all I can remember was there's this really creepy scene where the family, I knew it was like a haunted type of movie where they're being haunted by this demon, and there's a scene where the family's out camping, and they're having a good time, and they think everything is at peace. And then the daughter looks up, and there's like this black shadow just in the middle of the night by the picnic table. And I remember thinking that was the creepiest thing in the world when I was a kid. And I never knew what the movie was called, and my mom didn't know what movie I was talking about. And I thought this movie was like Lost Forever. And then flash forward. No, The Haunted.
Oh.
Listen to me. The Haunted from 1991. It's a TV movie. You're going to have to watch it, so listen. Anyway.
It wasn't Critters 3?
No!
But you said that they met up in the forest and they were playing Frisbee.
No, No, dude, I said that they were having a picnic and they were camping and there was a demon. Is there a demon floating around in Crows 3?
I mean, the Krites look like demons.
No, they don't. This is you know what? This sucks. Like, I was telling a big story and you ruined it.
Tell it.
I'm trying to tell it. I am telling it.
Tell it.
But anyway, flash forward to like... I am hanging up the call. Flash forward to like about a year, probably not even a year ago, in your group page, 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, I believe, I don't know if this might be completely wrong. Who's the dude that does the franchises in your group all the time? Like, he watched like all the crappy Amityville.
What? Jim Kamalius.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. I never knew how to say his last name.
I just made that up. I don't know if that's
I figured. But like when you said
Jim from Toronto.
Okay, yeah. But I think it was him. It was either him or like Jonathan Wilhelm, but I think it was Jim. So if I got that wrong, I apologize. But anyway, he posted this move in the group and he was, doing a little review on it, and something about the synopsis and the cover, I was like, huh. And then I looked up the move, and I found that scene, and I was like, holy crap, this is the movie, and I thanked him. I sent this big message. I was like, wow, that is the move. This is crazy. So anyway, back to the point. The Haunted, this is a story about a family who moves into this duplex, and the mom, the grandparents pretty much live next door, and the mom, dad, and their kids live on the other side, and everything's fine at first, but then they start becoming haunted, and this is actually, oddly enough, a Warren film, Ed and Lorraine Warren movie-based story, and they actually do have the Warrens in this movie. Not super well casted, in my opinion, but I think it's kind of interesting, because this is, like, one of those based on their case file stories, and the movie is definitely dated, but there's actually some creepy moments in this film that hold up pretty well. The effects, like that scene I kind of mentioned at the camp out, is very dated. It was silly to me looking it up and seeing like, oh, that's actually not even that scary at all, but other than that, for a TV movie, I actually think this is pretty creepy. You don't really see good movies like this, especially ghost films. Like, they use a lot of effects in this film, where I feel a lot of TV movies don't really use effects. It's kind of like by your mind and stuff. Jeffrey DeMunn's actually in this film as the father. He's played in quite a few things, but I dig it. I dug it quite a bit. I recommend it for 91. But anyway, to move along, we have Irreversible from 2002. First time watch for me. Yeah, this is a fantastic movie, told in reverse order. I think the reverse order actually works really well for the type of film that they have made here. What was that noise? Did you fart?
No, it was my chair. Okay.
Anyway, I think the reverse order of the film is very clever, because I think it makes more of an impact on especially what happens to the one female character. The rape scene in the movie, like everyone has said, it's probably one of the most brutal and hard to watch rape scenes ever. Just not even so much brutal, it's just like it feels realistic, and it goes on for an entire scene, and yeah, it's pretty intense, and like I said, it feels very realistic. So yeah, I think this is a really good movie. Once again, well acted. There's the scene towards the beginning where this guy's running around a bar trying to find essentially the rapist, and it's a very long scene, and it's very disorienting. The music, it kind of makes you feel nauseated, and I read that
was intentional.
Yes, that is what I read. And even the lights and stuff, it just seems like it would cause seizures or something. So but it keeps you enthralled the entire movie. I'm just like, wow, like, you're super into it. It's just genius filmmaking, in my opinion. Great movie. I'm glad I finally watched it. After that, I watched Dahmer from 2002.
Dude, what the hell? How many movies did you watch?
I watched a lot of moves, but you also watched a lot of moves, so I also am allowed to talk about my moves, I believe. So, Dahmer. this is a movie you've always told me about. You've always kind of hyped up a bit, and yeah, obviously it's kind of a little story about Jeffrey Dahmer, and it's told in an interesting way where you kind of have him living in the present as a grown adult, like he has his own place, and you're seeing different him kind of stalk out different guys and lure them back to his place. But then you're also getting kind of like this in the past type thing where he's living with his parents, and I believe they like go away for the weekend or something, so he's home alone, and he invites this guy over to smoke weed, and he's doing pretty much the same stuff. It's like the same type of things going on when he's young and versus when he's older, and it keeps going back and forth throughout the movie. I thought that was a cool way to tell the story. Dude that plays Jeffrey Dahmer does a great job. He's very unsettling and just seems like a total creep. He looks like a creep. He sounds like one. His dialogue just makes you uncomfortable and makes you think like, yeah, you should probably get away from this guy. There's something up with him. I also like the look of the film too, especially in his apartment. It's got like these sort of reds and just kind of like this almost plain look. There's not a whole lot of decor or anything like that, but I think it makes it even more, unsettling and watchable. But yeah, I enjoyed Dahmer. Pretty good one. I've actually never seen any other Jeffrey Dahmer inspired films.
There's a few of them. There's one that Intervision put out that I want really bad.
Yeah.
My Friend Dahmer is really good, but this one is definitely like it did make my top 10 of 2002. That's why 2002 is such an interesting year for you to talk about, because I've seen so much of everything that came out in 2002. But My Friend Dahmer is probably the film that I considered the biggest gem of the year when I watched it.
Yeah.
The one fun thing about doing the summer series is, for the most part, all these movies are good.
Yeah. I'm having a pretty good time with this.
Yeah,
At first I kind of looked at the list of stuff and I was like, ugh, like this all seems like it's going to be horrible. And then getting into it, it's like I've been enjoying watching these movies quite a bit.
Yeah, and it also ups your horror cred.
It does, yes.
Yeah.
Especially, like, a lot of these are, like, foreign movies, too, and those are the ones I've been enjoying the most, so...
Yeah.
A lot of subtitle watching, of course, but I don't mind that. If I'm in the mood, it's no biggie, but I just have like 10 more moves, buddy, and I'm almost done. So,
yeah.
After that, we have Alligator 2 from 91. Saw, Alligator at that drive-in. That was probably my favorite movie of that night. That was a fun lineup that we saw.
That was probably my funnest lineup. I mean, even the Boogans was pretty fun, but Critters, the Boogans, Alligator, and Deadly Spawn, which was probably my favorite. Deadly Spawn might have been... dude, it was all really fun.
Yeah, I surprisingly had a good time with that, because I'm not big on, like, the creature feature type of films, but yeah, Alligator, the first one I really enjoyed, so I was curious about this one, and this one's okay. I think it's kind of dull, honestly. It's no Alligator, let me tell you that. It lacks Alligate, I feel. I feel like if there was just a little bit more Alligate throughout the film, it would have been more entertaining, but it's more kind of about, like, the people investigating and trying to take down the alligator and stuff like that. But when you see the Alligate, I'm happy. But in general, I thought it was kind of boring and a little bit weak compared to the other one. Like, not much going for it. So, that was a little disappointing, but whatever. Moving along, I watched The Eye. I watched this one last night. The Eye from 2002. Never seen this one before. It's actually a Hong Kong film, so another, subtitled one, but this is about a girl who, she went blind at the age of 2, and she's been blind her whole life. Now she's an adult, and she gets this surgery where they basically give her new eye implants, and it's a success. But the problem is when she starts to slowly kind of regain vision, she finds that she is seeing people that other people are not seeing. So she is basically seeing ghosts. And
are eye transplants real?
I don't think so. I don't. I was gonna look that up because if they
Because
were
I
real,
feel like
wouldn't
nobody
everyone
should be blind then.
Yeah, I don't think it's legit because I think it's eyes and like the brain are like complicated. I feel like because yeah, I agree. Yeah, if they were real, I don't think anyone would be. There'd be no reason to be blind. But yeah, so she gets these eyes, and then she's seeing things. She knows she's like seeing ghosts pretty much, and she kind of she gets this therapist who is hired to help her see pretty much because she only knows stuff from touch, which is kind of interesting. Like, there's a part where he's like holding up a stapler and he's like, "Do you know what this is?" And she doesn't know what it is unless she touches it because that's all she would know. And that's kind of an intriguing thing I never really thought about. That probably is how it would be if a blind person suddenly could see. They wouldn't know something by vision. But so she kind of enlists this dude's help, and he's a young guy, this therapist, and he kind of takes a liking to her in a relationship type of way as well. So he's trying to help her out, and she feels she has to like figure out what's going on and find whose eyes these were and why she's seeing these things. I like this movie. This was actually really creepy. The just ghostly images she's seeing are pretty creepy. There's some good jump scare moments in it that hold up pretty well, and yeah, I like this. Like I said, I'm having fun with these sort of Asian / just foreign movies in general. I think they all hold up really well for being, from the early 2000s, and they're pretty creepy. So this was another good one. I think I saw the I remake a while ago, but I don't remember it at all. I feel like I don't think it was that good. But then after that, I watched Below today, and I was pretty bored by that movie. It's people in this boat, and stuff goes down. It kind of has the vibe of like Alien or Leviathan, where you just got this crew and or underwater, those types of movies. And I'm just not a big fan of these movies, honestly. Like, the only one that really wanted to kind of work for me that are in this territory is Alien, which I'm not even a huge fan of that, but that one has worked the best for me. And The Thing, I would kind of compare that to these types of movies. Obviously that's the best one in my opinion, but yeah, I didn't really care for this. I thought it was kind of bland and boring and just not my cup of tea. I always find the characters, I get them all confused in these types of movies too. It seems like they cast similar looking people and it's hard to really tell them apart. But and then lastly, I finished 28 Days Later today. I actually started watching this like a few nights ago and fell asleep, and I only had like not much time left, so I just kind of put it on. And I'd seen this one before. Again, it was just one I felt like I needed a refresher on. I think it's a solid infection movie. I think it's very dreary and depressing. One thing I like about it is the look of it on the, like, when they're outside, it reminds me of a survival video game type of deal in movie form. But one thing I don't like about it is how dark it is when they're inside places, because I find it's kind of hard for me to see what's going on, and it's kind of got that like just depressing look to it. But the whole movie is depressing, obviously, because it's an infection film, and these really aren't my types of films, but I think 28 Days Later is a good movie, and once again, it holds up well, which is something I could say for like all these 2002 films. So I'm done.
About freaking time.
Dude, I don't think it's fair that when you go, I sit back politely and listen, and I feel like when I go, it's like I'm taking up all your time.
Well, I'm just saying you do that.
Oh. All right, well. Would you like to get into our featured review?
Yes, let's do the damn thing.
Yes. Which is... What movie are we doing tonight? I forget.
It is The Wretched 2019.
Yes. So, a synopsis on The Wretched is you have a defiant teenage boy struggling with his parents' imminent divorce, faces off with a 1,000-year-old witch who is living beneath the skin of and posing as the woman next door.
Sounds legit.
Yep. So, what did you think?
What did you think?
I think I told what I thought first last time, but alright. I like this movie. I enjoyed the setting. I like it's kind of like in the middle of the nowhere, you got this kid, he goes to stay with his dad, I guess for the summertime, or I don't really know exactly, but he goes to stay with him, and the dad kind of lives like in the middle of this isolated area, kind of out in the country, I guess, and he works at this what do you call it, like a canoe, not really canoe, but like just rafting type place where they give like different boating lessons and stuff like that, and you could just take your boat out and ride it, so it's like on the beach. I always like that setting in movies because that's like the setting that I would like to live in real life, so I dug that right away. And the story of this movie I really enjoyed. You got this kind of teenage kid who's new to the area, and they have this neighbor that's like across the way, and that consists of like this mom, dad, and their two children. And the teenage boy kind of starts noticing some weird stuff going on next door, and he feels that he has to kind of like try to solve what's going on and like protect the young boy in the house. And I thought it was actually really creepy at times, which is refreshing because a lot of movies don't really capture that too well, it seems like, for me nowadays. But there's actually some really scary moments throughout this film, very unsettling and just spooky things going on. I like the whole just sort of in the middle of nowhere aspect when he's like at his dad's house and then it's nighttime and stuff is like going down next door. Thought all the characters were pretty likable as well. So yeah, I enjoyed it. What did you think?
Yeah, first of all, I love any type of movie. I've always wondered when I was going to get out of these, but I've always liked movies that follow teenagers and like them going like fish out of water, not necessarily fish out of water, but sort of like move to a new spot. Mm-hmm. I've always liked those for some reason. And like even some of the stuff that's cliche, like he meets this cute girl that he works with and stuff that's like a ride or die, gonna be his ride or die homie that he's gonna bond with and be friends with and tell all his stuff that he's learning to, and she's not gonna believe him, and then she is. Like I expect all that to happen, but I still like it. It still works for me. I like the little rear window / like Disturbia little thing.
I wanted to be the one to say that.
Too bad.
Oh.
Thing that's happening next door. I dig that. One of my favorite aspects of it was the whole like the witch can like erase your memories type thing, or like makes you forget people. That was really neat. I like that.
Yeah.
The witch herself looked pretty cool. I feel like that the story and like how it all plays out is a little bit wonky. Like there's probably some things you could pick apart with that, which I won't go into for like spoiler reasons, but I feel like there might be some minor issues with like the powers of the witch and like how it all works and stuff like that.
I feel like some character development is a little bit like off too. Like I feel like there's certain plot points kind of introduced that hint at things, and then they're kind of not really advanced upon. You just kind of assume things, like the boy breaking his arm. Like I guess towards the end, like you see like what's going on with that, and then the whole parent situation, but it wasn't a huge deal. It was just like tiny little aspects like that. But
yeah, and you got the wife or the girlfriend of the father and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the witch was pretty creepy. I thought the story unfolded quite nicely. I enjoyed like the concept of like the witch wearing people's skin, like literally, you know what I mean? That was creepy. I love the little tree that she lives in. That's creepy. Overall, pretty creepy. I think like this is almost like a home run, but just doesn't quite get there. For me.
Yeah, I mean, my issues were pretty minor with it. Home runs that's like a strong word for me, but I really enjoyed it. It's probably one of the better movies, probably one of my favorite movies I've watched so far this year, honestly. So, just the witch being inside, like, the lady next door's body is super scary to me. Just and the little boy kind of being like, mom's acting strange, and she's like, those sort of movements that you see, those effects where it's like cracky and like the body, like it sounds like every bone in the body is like cracking. I don't know what you would call that. So that always kind of creeps me out. So, yeah, home run. Like I said, that's a strong word, but I think it's definitely one I would recommend.
That's why I said it's almost. It seems like it could have been a home run, but it's not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that overall it's a pretty solid little movie. I like the concept. Easy to watch too. Just very like easy, engaging movie. Overall, I don't have many complaints with it. It's good.
It is, yes. Good little creepy movie. I recommend it.
Do you have anything else on that?
I don't think so. No.
All right. So let's go ahead and rate this bad boy. But first, let's get into some Letterboxd reviews. So we have a positive and a negative one here. So let's see. Let's go with the really negative one, which is a 1.5 star.
Dang.
This review's in bullet points. Bullet point number 1. The lead performances by John Paul Howard is one of the weakest parts of the movie. He's doing something that's between CW and Lifetime's series in a low-budget Netflix original movie. It's an entirely surface-level performance of teenage cliches with nothing more than that's going on. Bullet point 2. The supporting cast fares better, though they might mainly be by comparison. Piper Curda is fun to watch and flirty, sassy. Mallory Jameson Jones ably fills a very late period Dennis Quaid-esque role. Zara Mahler is charismatic and does a good job in the horror scenes. The Pierce brothers do an okay job with the horror visuals here, relying on many conventions of genre-like tracking shots, not showing us what the character sees, point of view shots, and items hidden in shadows. The POV shots are also used to give us a sense of voyeurism, like Hitchcock does in Rear Window. The directors here don't reinvent the wheel, but they do an okay job. Unfortunately, the film overall, with a script by the Pierce brothers, does not have the same success. This is an extremely derivative horror movie that feels incredibly shallow. I think it's supposed to be incredibly shallow and incomplete, but not in a fun, schlocky B-movie way. Everything from the themes, neglected children, divorce, teen angst, environmental horror, to the characters, to the mythology of the monsters feels half-baked and underdeveloped. I actually disagree with a lot of what he's saying there. Just because on like the surface, the setup has those neglected children, divorce, teen angst, stuff like that, doesn't mean that that's what the core film is about. That's just the setup. Half-baked and underdeveloped. The Pierces also fail miserably at managing to disparate tones. The Wretched indivisibly attempts to blend a horror movie with a teen summer sex comedy. The result is a mishmash of tone that makes the movie laughably campy and ridiculous. Did it really feel like a teen summer sex comedy though?
It felt like any horror movie that has teenagers in it.
This guy gave it a 1.5 star. Let's see what his favorite films are. Lord of the Rings, The Dark Knight, There Will Be Blood, and Three Colors Red. It seems like he spends a lot of time not watching horror, so that could factor into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like his points are okay. Like, maybe it's a little underdeveloped, but I've seen way worse underdeveloped. But like, this isn't at all choppy or anything like he's trying to make it out to be.
Yep. Okay, so the positive review is from Dustin Baker, which I couldn't find too many like over 3-star reviews. So this one's 3.5 stars. Cool little Fright Night clone that trades vampires for forest demon bitches. It's easy to go into these things expecting the worst anymore, but thankfully this actually has some realistic and likable characters, competent filmmaking, and cool story beats. Almost like a real movie, which you can't say that often in VOD land. It even pulls off some good story veers late in the film without it feeling like a cheat. Cool. I agree.
Yeah.
So my rating for this one, I think it's good. I don't think it's amazing or anything. I feel like it could have been a little bit better if we would have had maybe a little bit of a more unique story. Even though I like some of the story beats, it is a little bit cliche. Maybe a little bit more kills or something like that, because there is a lot of concept with the children and stuff that could be pretty creepy. Some of that stuff's good. I would have liked a little bit more. I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I like this one mainly because it actually creeped me out, and I am very happy when a movie actually does manage to give me the spooks. Like I said, I feel like the only real flaw with it for me is I feel like there could have been just a little bit more development of characters, just a little bit. But all in all, I mean, I really enjoyed this. I came in a little higher. I give it an 8.5 out of 10.
Whoa.
Yes.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot of good stuff this year. You're coming in high on a lot of stuff. You'll probably...
Yeah, they all, like, I don't know, like, a lot of these, like, We Summon the Darkness, just something about the characters and the vibe of the films has been really going well with me, so...
All right, well, that will do it for this episode of His and Hers Movie Podcast. Next week, we will be tackling the 2020 film 1BR, which I assume that means one bedroom.
Yes, one bedroom apartment type of deal.
Yeah, so the reason I chose this one is because I've heard some positive things about it, and I love movies that follow like someone moving into an apartment or something like that. I've always kind of dug that, so pretty cool. Gonna be excited to check that one out. Coming at you next week.
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. Peace.
Peace.